We are on the second floor at 219 Columbia Avenue. This is the top gable looking out from the front of the house. You can see the driveway here. These windows. You can see where it's leaked. This is kind of how this opens up here. The walls and ceiling, it's not drywall or plaster. It's this material, like a cardboard, and it's corrugated. It's really a fire hazard, and it would not offer very much fire protection at all. So that'd be something to consider if you wanted to turn this into a real living space. And the top half would need to be dealt with. A lot of the windows don't really sit true or flush or square. And actually, what you'll see later in this video is the foundation of this house, and actually the whole structure of this house is really off kilter. That's why I'm recommending a structural engineer come in to give the right repair, because it affects all four foundation walls and the actual framing of the house. I don't know if you can tell, but the way there's a beam here that's solid, but then the rest of the house slopes this way, and it's the whole house. So there's a gable here, and then a gable here, and then another gable here. So there's three different roofs. It's an older roof. It does leak in some places. You can see in these voids. This looks pretty dry. It's not too bad. But I wanted to show this here, what they've done. It's an elderly gentleman that lived here, and he was a do-it-yourselfer. He's just from that generation. He did a lot of things on his own. He made with this leaked here, he made this gutter system where that gable leaked on the roof against the chimney. Mm-hmm. And they made this galvanized pipe come out into the interior space here, and it runs out through the wall and drips out to the front of the house. It's an unprofessional installation. I don't understand why he wouldn't have just patched the roof or redone the chimney flashing. But he's also got this extension cord on there. That's like some heat tape to keep that from freezing in the wintertime. Here's your heat source for up here. And still, it's the cardboard material that covers the walls. You can see some knob and tube wiring in the wall here. These railings should be a continuous straight shot of railing. This is 3 separate railings. Your handhold here that's not secured. This attachment's loose. And then a separate handle here. This opens up into the kitchen. And I had mentioned leaks before. If you can see right here, it looks like it's been taken care of, but there's a possibility that that's been leaking a little bit more. It's actually raining today, and it's staying pretty dry. But that's right underneath where the gable is, under that other roof. This is the dining room and the living room. All the electricity is older. There's some knob and tube wiring that exists in the house, as I showed you before. There's about 3 circuits that are knob and tube, and then Romex finishes it off. The electrical service was updated around 1985. There's a gas fireplace. That was likely a wood burner at one time. This is the front of the house where the video started, in that window upstairs. But it's hard to show up in a video and in pictures, but there's a major slope to this floor. I mean, you can actually feel it when you walk through here. And you can almost trip. This door, very hard to shut. It's just off center. You can see that. And what the homeowner, the old homeowner, did is he actually took this closet door. If you can see, he cut it away to kind of compensate for the sloping in the foundation. I'm going to go out this front door and I'll show you exactly what I mean. If you can see the way the drainage on the lot goes is on this steep hill. And it comes over here to the side of the home. And you can see how that falls away. Note the retaining wall here along the property line. You can see the air conditioning here that was installed in 1985. You can see some drainage here. Comes from the gutter, the lower gutter. There's also some drainage here that comes down and it goes this way, further down the hill. So that's the window that I started in. And you can see where I showed you the makeshift gutter from the roof of that crawl space is right there. The windows are newer. They all have flaking paint that would need to be scraped off and redone, or maybe even trimmed with some aluminum flashing. But back to this lot. Underneath this porch is an old coal bin. The original furnace was a coal heated furnace. This is another one of the old homeowner's inventions, was to do this makeshift gutter, and for all intents and purposes it works. But why not just have a properly done downspout? This foundation wall bows out. I don't know if you can really see it in the video, but it's down below grade on the floor. It's actually eroding away, and it's all coming down this hill. This hill's sliding. Here's the retaining wall that at one time sat either straight up or actually even leaning the other way. And you can see how bad that's leaning now. The tree roots certainly don't help that. One thing I wanted to point out as well is there's a good marker whenever this flower bed was installed with the stone. You can see where the mortar joint has cracked and is falling. So that's a good indicator that that's falling down the hill. So you can see the outside gables. There's a lot of broken shingle tabs and repairs with silicone caulking. This is not a proper repair. Instead of silicone caulking, it should be roofer's tar. And the same here, you can see where this is falling down the hill as well. Could use some window well covers and a window well. And the homeowner, he realized that and kind of did a makeshift window well. Does have a detached garage with some outbuildings. It's Got this double lot here. You can see the shingle tabs. There's the roof. There's a lot of these spotlights. They're wired very incorrectly. It's dangerous. Wire splices without wire nuts. It's all taped together. Here's a nice patio door, which is newer. We'll go to the basement and show you some issues down here. Here's the handrail. It's a block foundation. It's got a lot of cracks in it. You can see moisture's come in at the grade level. This is the wall alongside the driveway. There's not a musty odor down here, so and it's actually pretty dry today on this rainy day. You can see where this concrete block has had a skim coat on it, but there's some bowing in this wall, if you can see that. There's actually 2 diagonal cracks as well, here and here. What that tells me is that there's some settling in this corner. Here's the water meter. The water service is actually lead. Here's the gas meter. And right here, there's some displacement of the concrete block. Yet another foundation issue. Wouldn't be a major deal if that was in and of itself. But now we're looking at 2 walls affected. But it gets a little more problematic. Here's the coal bin that I spoke about. This is the door for that. You can see, and also the slab, large cracks, about 1-inch cracks. They've been filled with silicone, but it keeps separating further. This slopes in such a degree, I don't know if you can see that in the video as well. But this is where the problem began. This is the hillside of the house. Here's the main plumbing stack. That was replaced. This is a column of the house, and it seems like this is where all of the weight of the structure is focusing. You can see how a crack comes off of each corner. And it's just pressing down. This is where all the weight is. And it's actually off center as well. So back to the coal bin. The door doesn't open all the way because of this large crack. It's about a 1/2-inch gap here from the upper part of the slab and the lower part where it's sinking away towards the hill. Here's the furnace. It was installed in 1985. It's a Rheem. It works well. I don't know if you can see the daylight through the cracks in the block. Also, large cracks are displaced. I mean, this whole chunk of slab is upheaving and heading towards the hill, downhill. More large cracks. Displacement of the blocks. Penetrations in the foundation here. There could be vermin entry just due to that. But really, I think that's the least of the concerns. You can see where some of the slab was replaced and new concrete was poured. It was likely whenever they redid this plumbing stack. You can see at the very bottom that's PVC. So there was an issue with the plumbing, this cast iron. Either it was supporting some of the weight of this house, of this side, and actually crushed it, or it rusted away, or there's a major clog. Who really knows? It's really unable to determine that. See some more plumbing here. All redone. This is the bathtub. You can see some of the subfloor. There's some water marks. That's pretty typical, but there's no wood rot. Subfloor here. The ductwork for the furnace. It's insulated. It's not the proper insulation they use. They actually make a different kind. This is just regular old bats insulation that you would use in an attic or in walls. You can see inside the ceiling here some old knob and tube wiring. Some cracks in and of itself, not major, but when you add that with the sloping of the slab and the cracking and the other two walls, that's an issue. So, and then finally, that's wall number 3, and then wall number 4, there's some displacement of the block here. And it's kind of misleading, but this paneling is actually where part of the foundation wall that juts back. And then you can see through this door here, again, it doesn't open because the structure's not square. You have some more bowing of this foundation wall. So this lower half below this crack is leaning in. This half is leaning out. It's putting pressure on this wall, and that's why you have the displacement of these concrete blocks. So that's 4 foundation walls that are cracking, bowing, offset. Here's the kitchen stack. You can see there's some rust has been leaking. They used tape to fix that. The water is off here, so I'm not able to tell for sure if there's any leaks. You can see the old knob and tube wiring. In and of itself, knob and tube wiring isn't a terrible thing, but you're starting to get degradation of this insulation. So I'll show you the electrical service panel at the far end. Here's where all that knob and tube wiring comes into the sub panel. You can see the insulation is breaking away. I mean, that's when it starts to become a fire hazard. It's done properly. These 3 circuits come together to feed these 2 or 3 Romex circuits right here. that comes into this electrical panel. There's tons of room to add on to this electrical panel. It was redone in 1986. You can see that date there.